Very timely as we all get our contributions set up for 2025. Well, happy new year. We have a lot to cover here to kick things back off, and we will get back to our question of the week here as we start 2025. I'm Brandon Steele, financial advisor with Mainsail Financial Group here in Bellevue. And our goal every Thursday is to bring to you the market news, the data, the trends we're watching, hopefully weed out a little bit of the noise along the way. And it feels good to be back to a normal day and hopefully, well, next week starting a full normal week. That said, of course, we've been a little slow the last couple of weeks with some holidays and trading days and all that. This week, not a whole lot different. So we'll cover a couple of topics, but more so what I will do is maybe spend a little bit of time on where we wrapped up 2025 or 2024, excuse me. It's good that I'm in that habit already. And then where we, so far anyways, seem to have started 2025. On top of that, we'll refresh on 2025 contribution limits for our question of the week. Before we get there, just a couple data points to share. We did have pending home sales come out earlier or late last week, I believe it was. Pending home sales came out up 2.2%. Obviously, many of you know this, but markets were closed yesterday for the holiday. That said, unfortunately, there was a few kind of down days at the very end of the year, which I'll kind of factor into the numbers I'll share here in a minute. But nonetheless, still a strong 2024. Unfortunately, did see a little bit of a pullback through the very last trading days of 2024. And then we had initial jobless claims come out today. Initial jobless claims came out at 211,000. So again, next week, we actually start jobs week again. So we will get right back into the swing of things with a full week and lots of data to come with it. But in general, that's really some of the data looking backwards. Now, that said, I did want to take a quick minute to also touch on kind of where we wrapped up 2024. And there's a couple things I'll highlight. I'll highlight just kind of broad U.S. markets. I'll highlight the bond market and then the international markets, just to kind of capture the broad swath here of the markets that many of you are probably paying attention to. So U.S. markets were great. This was the shining star for sure. Been the case certainly as of late, but 2024 was no exception. So U.S. markets, depending on which index you looked at, but generally we're up, double-digit returns. So very exciting to see that, especially in a year where I think there was a lot of potential to see things go the other way. It was great to see such a strong year in the U.S. stock market. The bond market, however, even after 2022 and the challenges there, the bond market was basically flat through the year. I think it ended up, the aggregate, Barclays aggregate ended up slightly up for the year. But nonetheless, let's just call it basically flat. It wasn't a whole lot to write home about there. And then international stocks, not very exciting here either. In general, and again, depending on which index you look at, but in general, up around mid-single digit type of numbers here for international equities. So again, between international bonds and U.S. markets was definitely the shining star here for 2024. And here we are, first day of trading in 2025. Although markets aren't closed yet, it looks like likely a down day here to kick off the year. Nothing huge, but certainly a down day here to start the year. We'll see where this goes. Obviously, don't take one day of trading as the sign of what's to come through 2025, but that is where we're starting the year anyways. And of course, we'll share an update here next Thursday. In the meantime, I do want to touch on a very good question of the week, very timely as we all get our contributions set up for 2025, which is a refresher on 2025 retirement plan contribution limits. So I'm going to leave 2024 in the dust, but I do want to spend time on 2025. So for 401ks, that number in 2025 is now $23,500. And of course, for those who are age 50 and up, you also get a $7,500 catch-up. So that puts us at 31 grand in total between the two if you're over 50 and up. However, for those who are age 60, 61, 62, and 63, there is actually an additional catch-up allowed as well. I'm not necessarily going to cover that today, but as part of the Secure Act that passed not too long ago, Secure Act 2, there's actually some additional contributions allowed as well. For IRAs, so whether Roth IRA or traditional IRA, of course, there are income limitations here as well. But if you're eligible, contribution limits are $7,000 for 2025 and an extra $1,000 catch-up for, again, those age 50 and older. And then lastly, for HSA plans, for anybody who might have a high deductible plan and an HSA, the individual limit for 2025 is $4,300, and for families is $8,550. So very good timing for this. I imagine a lot of you are reassessing your contributions for the year ahead, and this is kind of where we stand. So obviously a lot of plans will automatically increase this for you, but if you need to make any adjustments, those are the new numbers for 2025. Be sure to tune in next week. Again, we'll get back to finally a full week again in 2025, and we kick off the year with Jobs Week, so we'll have quite a bit to cover. In the meantime, have a great upcoming weekend. Happy New Year, and we'll see you next Thursday at 3.